We are on Season 2, Disc 7, Episode 141. Another episode of uncomfortableness. There is no captain's log to introduce us to this story. Are you looking forward to Season 3 at all? Have you enjoyed these recaps every week? Have you enjoyed some of my cringeworthy moments? And hey, before I forget, could you please hit the like and subscribe? I could use the encouragement, the support, positive support only, please. And this is the D. Louise Book Series. I'm Christina Karras-Tina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no fancy smancy stuff going on here. And on Fridays we do weekly recaps of Star Trek Next Generation or Star Trek Voyager. So, and one day I will go back and do those Star Trek Next Generation that were garbled due to technical difficulties. So, as I said, there is no captain's voiceover in this episode to start off, to set off, to explain what's going on here. We have no knowledge of what has happened or what will happen or what did happen. No knowledge. They just start us off cold like this. I guess it's kind of suspenseful situation. And it is a nice, beautiful, sunny day here. It's a nice, beautiful, sunny day there. So, Captain Janeway and Chakotay are in these tubes. Why are they in these tubes? Do not know. Let's find out. Sorry, in a mood. So you hear you hear the doctor saying, "Sick bay to the captain. This is the doctor speaking. You brought us out of stasis. I assume you have news." "Yes, our sensors show your vital signs are normal. How are you feeling?" "We're fine." "How long were we in stasis?" 17 days. "That long?" "I wanted to exhaust every possibility of finding a cure, and I regret to inform you that we have been unsuccessful. I have not been able to develop the counter agent for the virus and have no other option to explore. What about keeping us in stasis aboard Voyager?" "Something in the planet's environment is shielding you from the effects of the virus. If you leave, you risk a recurrence of the disease, which would undoubtedly prove fatal. The only option I can think of at the moment is contacting the Validians. They have a sophisticated medical technology. It's possible they might be helped." "We'll take that under advisement, Doctor. Thank you for your efforts. Janeway out." So then Chakotay and Janeway discuss whether they should contact the Vividians, because they've never shown any willingness to help them in the past. But there's no other way to solve their problems. The Vividians are their only option. So let's see what happens. We're not even shown or told what the virus is, now that I think about it. We're not even told anything. So Janeway contacts Tuvok and tells Tuvok that they are to resume course for the Alpha Quadrant and they are not to contact the Vividians, despite what the doctor said. So then we are in the captain's ready room, and B'Elanna says, "So we're just going to abandon them on this planet?" "Those were the captain's express orders." "But you can rescind them now," Paris says. "You're the captain now. You can do whatever you want." "To what end?" "I can't believe we actually haven't been able to find a cure for an insect bite," B'Elanna says. Cass is there, and she says the doctor hasn't deactivated himself for a month. He's tried everything. He's researched every database, attempted the most drastic research. You can't fault him. Neelix says, "I can tell you the morale of the crew is going to suffer if we leave them behind." And Tuvok says, Mr. Neelick, when we leave them behind, the decision has been made. We will, of course, provide them with everything they'll need for their survival and comfort. I'm arranging for a modular shelter to be transported to the surface. They'll have all the technology they need, the weapons, tricorders, a replicator. You talk as though it was a camping trip, Alana says. They have to spend the rest of their lives down there. That's not a certainty, Tuvok says. Captain Janeway intends to continue researching the virus. She's an able scientist and may eventually be able to effect a cure. They have a Type 9 shuttlecraft at their disposal if it becomes possible for them to leave the planet. Paris says the Type 9 shuttle has top warp speed of 4. It won't take them more than 700 years to get home. I'm not certain what you expect me to do, Lieutenant. Paris says, I'm clearly something you can't do, which is to feel as rotten about this as we do. You are correct, Tuvok says. I am unable to experience that emotion, and frankly, I fail to see what benefit that would be. If there is nothing more, you are all dismissed. Then Chakotay gets another communication from the captain. We have received the transport. We'll check it over and let you know if we're missing anything. I will remain in orbit until I hear from you. After that, we will remain in communication for 36 hours. And Janeway's like, I'll contact you before the day is out. Janeway out. So then Chakotay and Janeway are going over all the stuff that was shipped down. It looks like they transported the contents of the whole ship. We may have to be here for a while. Petri dishes, protein analyzer, DNA sequences, everything I need for my research is there. Do you think you can find a cure? Janeway said yes, it may take a while, but yes. If I find a specimen of the insect that infected us, I begin analyzing protein cofactors. That might give us the information we need to find out what is in this environment that's keeping us from being sick and how to replicate it. How does it matter which way these things go? It depends on whether you're being in a beige mood or a gray mood. That's not much of a choice, and they start decorating some other stuff. Then we are in engineering, and B'Elanna says, this diagnostic report looks like it was written by a first-year cadet. These are mistakes. It's incomplete. And Swin says, I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I guess I've been distracted. We've all been distracted, Ensign. That's no excuse. Yes, ma'am. So then B'Elanna and Kim are talking. I've been talking with some of the Starfleet crew. They're not happy about what happened. I was wondering, how are the Maquis taking it? How do you think they're taking it? This isn't a Starfleet issue, Harry. It's affecting everyone. Then why don't we do something about it? Do what? I don't know. It seems like we shouldn't just accept this. Well, that's all and well and good, but frankly, I can't think of anything else we can do. If you have any ideas, please suggest. Otherwise, move on. So then we're back on the planet with Janeway and Chakotay, and she's trying to catch insects to see which one infected them, and she's not having too much luck. And Tuvok contacts her and says, we're moving out of communication range. And then Janeway gives her goodbye speech. This is Catherine Janeway. I've never liked saying goodbye, so I'll make this brief. I want you to all know that serving as your captain has been the most extraordinary experience of my life. No captain could ask more than what this crew has given. Bravery, compassion, and strength of character, but I think I'll miss most is the fun. The times we joke together, the games on the holodeck. Although Commander Chakotay and I won't be with you for the rest of your journey, we know you'll be steadfast for Mr. Tuvok as you have been for us. Have a speedy and safe journey home. So, it's dark. I always say, could you turn up the lights just a little bit so we can see the characters? That's my biggest pet peeve. Catherine Janeway's personal log, stardate 496901. Day 24 of our stay on the planet we've named New Earth. As yet, I've been unable to make any progress in finding a cure for our illness, but a soak in the tub Chakotay built always helps me focus possible solutions. So, I got a question for you. if Chakotay and Janeway are stuck on this planet, do they ever get romantic together? Hmm? Are they still remaining their professionalness? So anyway, Janeway was in the hot tub, and Chakotay was inside the house thingy. And she calls him because she heard a noise, and she says she thinks it might be a primate. So they go look. Oh look, a monkey. So they're so busy talking about the monkey, and maybe they should try and catch a monkey to get a sample of its blood to do the test on it and find why the monkey survived the bites. And well, of course, it's the planet too. That's why they're there, because the planet will keep them alive. But then they realize that she's only in a towel, and they get a little uncomfortable with each other. So do you think if they spent 6 months to a year here, they'd really get together here? So Janeway's all excited about the monkey and the primate. And Chakotay says that you've been at it 12 hours a day, 7 days a week since we got here, and we're still no closer to a cure than we were the day we were infected. I'm not sure what you're getting at. My people have a saying, even the eagle must know when to sleep. Maybe it's time we both consider that. You mean give up? Why do you have to see it as defeat? Maybe it's simply accepting what life has dealt us, finding the good in it. There may be a day when I'll come to that, Chakotay, but I'm long away from it now. So, it's time for a captain's log. And since it's time for a captain's log, it's time for a picture of outside Voyager. Acting Captain's Log Supplemental. After 6 weeks, the decision to leave the captain and the first officer behind still seems to weigh heavily on the crew. So, there's no room shot. It's you talk in your face, you talk in your face, I talk in my face. So, they're on the bridge, and Ensign Kim tells Tuvok that they've picked up a convoy of Avidian ships. And Tuvok says, alter course. I don't want them to know we're here. And then Kim says, they're in hailing range. Maybe we should ask them about the captain's illness. And Tuvok says, you're aware that the captain specifically told us not to contact the Validians. And Kim is like, yes, but it's not like we went out of our way to find them. We would just be taking advantage of an opportunity that presented itself. That's a bit of sophistry is not terribly persuasive, Ensign. How can we turn our backs on this chance to do something? Don't we at least have to try, he says. And then Kim gets a little excited. What's wrong with the rest of you? You know I'm right. We have a chance to help them. We can't ignore it. And then Tuvok relieves Kim of duty. So then the two extra crewmen for this week, Swin and Hogan, come to talk to Kim, and they're upset that the doctor the Tuvok won't even give it a try. So after their talk with Kim, they all get up and go over to B'Elanna's table. Did you hear what happened? Sure did. 3 weeks ago, you said if I had an idea about what to do, you'd listen. I'm listening. Then Neelix comes over, and they all discuss it. So, my pet peeve is, if you're going to do some dramatic acting, can I at least see you? It's almost a blank screen. You can barely see Harry sitting there. But he goes in to talk to Tuvok. I'd like to suggest a plan. It's something a lot of people have helped develop. We have two big bargaining points when it comes to dealing with the Vidians. First, there's the woman the doctor treated, Daenerys Pell. They were very close, so I'm sure she'd help us if she could. And then there's B'Elanna. Her DNA might lead to a cure for the phage. We could offer them some in exchange for their help for the captain and Chakotay. So then Chakotay, again, in the dark, except for the glowing purple, I guess. I have no idea. Those are, as you say, points in our favor, but there is also the fact that we were recently responsible for the destruction of a Viridian ship, and actually killed over 300 of their people. That alone makes it unwise for us to contact them. I think you should know how many people on the ship disagree with you. Everyone I talk to thinks we should give this a try. The people you talk to have not the responsibility of commanding the vessel, Chakotay says. The safety of crew is paramount. I must do whatever I can to ensure their safety. But if we're willing to risk that in order to help the captain, Ensign, I'm going to say this once and only one. If you ever question my orders again, I will relieve you of duty permanently. Yes, sir, and walks out. So then we're back on the planet, and Chakotay is making headboards for their beds so they can sit back at night and read. Uh he's like, I can't sacrifice the present waiting for the future that may never happen. This is the reality of this situation, is that we may never leave here. So yes, I'm trying to make a home, something that's more plain than a gray box. Someday I may have to let go, but not today. I've tried a new glucose bait in the traps. I have a feeling this might be the day I make a breakthrough. And then she hears some rustling. So then Janeway comes in contact with another monkey. Then they experience a plasma storm. So then Cass comes in to talk to Tuvok. I would like to talk to you about my father. Your father. He was a very wise man. More than anyone, he shaped the person I am. If it hadn't been for him, I would have never questioned my people's belief. I would have never left the city. I would have never met you all. Then we owe him a debt. It's difficult to imagine this journey without you. When he died, I had just turned 1 year old. I didn't know how I'd get through the rest of my life without him. But then I started working with you, and I didn't miss him so much anymore. I am honored by the comparison, Tuvok says. As captain, the well-being of your crew is important to you, of course. Their emotional well-being as well as their physical. I cannot allow myself to become hostage to their feelings. Tuvok, they are suffering because of this. Maybe you don't know what it's like. If you are suggesting I'm not sensitive to the situation, nothing could be further from the truth. I have lost a valued friend. I'm not immune to the effects of that loss. Then try to imagine what it's like for those who have feelings deeply. A lot of the crew on the bridge are hoping you'll talk to them. So then Tuvok comes out and talks to everybody on the bridge. None of you can appreciate what it means to be in command of a ship until that responsibility rests squarely on your shoulders, as it does mine. It has been suggested that I take an action which would require me to disobey an order, and knowingly put this crew in a life-threatening situation. In general, I believe it demonstrates a faulty leadership to be guided by emotion of a distraught crew. However, as captain, I must not ignore the sensibilities of those in command. We will contact the Validians, and the decision will be mine and mine alone if we get in trouble. Yay! So the storm that came through destroyed all of her medical research and her medical research equipment and stuff. So she cannot continue doing her research anymore. Okay, it's an outside view of the Enterprise. You know what that means. It means it's time for a Captain's Log Stardate update. Captain's Log Stardate 49694.2. We've contacted the Validian convoy with encouraging results. They have promised us to communicate with Dr. Daenerys Pell and ask if she will help us. Ups. So, She said, "Doc, I didn't expect to see you this quickly. When I heard what happened, I boarded the first ship I could. Tell me about the illness." They were infected by a virus after being bitten by insects on a planet approximately 70 light years from here in a system with a yellow dwarf star. Third planet in a system of 7? Yes, I know it well. There's a particular kind of burrowing insect that carries the disease. Years ago, we developed an antiviral agent to combat it. Can we get some from you? Of course. Our captain said we could rendezvous with you. He's transmitted the coordinates. I have them, sir. We'll appreciate your assistance. Estimated time to arrival, Kim says 24 hours. So then they're repairing all the damage that occurred during the storm, and Chakotay starts talking about building a log cabin, and the monkeys also come by to say hi. So she's got knots in her shoulders from doing all that physical labor. So Chakotay decides to give her a massage, and it gets a little uncomfortable, and he stops and they go to bed separately. So, you think if they were going to be on here for longer, they'd finally succumb to intimate pleasure? We know that, we know where we hope or maybe think Chakotay ends up. We always thought it might have been Balana, but Balana's got other plans. But we're going to have to wait a couple years for 7. And even then, whatever happens after the series ends and goes into the books. So, a bunch of Viridian ships show up and surround Voyager and do not respond to any of their hails. Did we walk into a trap, maybe? So then, Chakotay and Janeway have another uh, discussion about the parameters of their life. I'm not sure I can define parameters, but I can tell you a story, an ancient legend among my people. It's about an angry warrior who lived his life in conflict with the rest of a tribe. A man who couldn't find peace even with the help of a spirit guide. For years he struggled with his discomfort, but the only satisfaction he ever got was in battle. This made him a hero among his tribe, but the warrior still longed for peace within himself. One day he and his warrior party were captured by a neighboring tribe led by a woman. She called on him to join her because her tribe was too small and weak. So they're discussing their possibility of future intimacy. It's just. You know the expression, it's just. You can add whatever you want to the rest of that sentence. It's just good, it's just bad, it's just uncomfortable, it's just. So now Voyager is being attacked. So then we go to sickbay, and the lady has a broken arm. Odd, why wouldn't they just use the comm line? I don't think this is coming from our ship. Shimlis, can you hear me? Daenerys, I have to do this quickly. I'm on one of the Vidian ships. Do they know you're contacting me? Are you in danger? No. Everyone's so focused on the battle. Shimlis, I swear I don't know they planned your attack. I thought we were on an errand of mercy. I believe you. I have the antiviral serum here. If you can use your transporter to get it to your ship. Our shields are up. We can't trust anything through. I don't know what else to suggest. All right, I'll see what I can do. Maybe we can get sickbay lower the shields. So he contacts Tuvok. Okay. So then the doctor contacts Tuvok, tells Tuvok about the plan to get the medicine. So Tuvok has got this plan. They're gonna drop the shields. They're gonna beam aboard the meds. They're gonna eject the antimatter container, and Kim is going to shoot it with a torpedo. That's their battle plan here. So they go through with all that. They get the cure, and they raise shields back up, which have been almost depleted as it is. They were down to, I forget what the percentage was, but they were down to like 50%. There's the cure. Some green jello, maybe? So then we're back on the planet, and Janeway is doing some planting, and Chakotay is watching her. Chakotay talks about building a rowboat. And then they hear some static and they get a communication from Voyager. We have a cure, Tuvok says. We'll see you in 30 hours. Janeway says goodbye to the monkey and tells the monkey that he can use the house if he wishes. And they beam up to Voyager. So Janeway's back on the ship. The doctor tells me you contact the Viridians after all. I disobeyed your order, Captain. I'm prepared to accept the consequences. If I didn't know better, I say your decision was almost emotional. Thank you, all of you. We've lost time with this. Let's see if we can make up some cum. Mr. Paris, Warp 8. Aye, Captain. So then Janeway starts handing out orders. We need to review the ship's systems. I'll handle propulsion, environmental communications. You'll be responsible for sensor, weapons, and transporters. Aye, Captain. I'll have the report to you by 1800 hours. Check with phaser maintenance, see if they've resolved that problem with the pre-fire chamber temperature. Yes, ma'am. I'll see to it. And that's how this episode ends. So there we have it. The end of Resolutions. I hope you will tune in with me for Basics Part 1 as we head into Season 3 of Voyager. I hope you will also check out If Then later this afternoon. Still getting a little carried away with the summer vacation ideas. Don't forget to check out JD Robb every Saturday. In Death, D. Louise book series. I reviewed all the books and the plotline the first time around. The second time around, I'm enjoying my characters. Don't forget unboxing on Sunday, flashback Mondays, and I'm looking for suggestions. We are going to catch up with the present soon, so I could use some ideas, leave some ideas on the Flashback Monday page, and of course my daily book reviews. Have a good one.